So it's finally happening. After a year of the game being on the market, Mighty No. 9 is finally getting the physical rewards from the Kickstarter sent out to backers. There were a lot of people who backed the game above the retail price because there were promises made of things like a box and manual being sent out, for example, that have not been sent out until now, apparently, where the backers, a year after the game has come out, are now getting the things that they put the money in. Up to $60 in some cases, according to backers, were invested for these rewards that are now showing up on their doorstep well after the game has been heavily criticized and beaten by most gamers. One Twitter user in particular who posted pictures of the delivered box and manual at Isfit. You can check it out. They also have a video of them receiving it and showing that the box is smushed down. So you have to assemble the box yourself, which isn't a big deal because, well, it's a cardboard box. Generally, shipping those things, it's easier to ship flat, so it doesn't get smushed when it's actually in transit. So I can understand that. The only thing that's really throwing me off here is the manual doesn't fit in the box. Now, if you're familiar at all with Super Nintendo games, for example, which this is obviously trying to mimic kind of with the look and the retro feel, the manuals go inside the box. You put the manual in the box, you put the game in there, and it's supposed to sit nicely on your shelf. In this case, you can't put the manual in the box unless, of course, you fold the manual in half and kind of stuff it in there, damaging, obviously, at that point, the manual itself, which is supposed to be a collector's item. And this kind of epitomizes the entire Kickstarter if you really think about it. It was a Kickstarter that frustrated a lot of people. The game changed several times. They restarted the funding over and over again. They kept asking for more and more money, and then the game comes out and disappoints people heavily. Yet not all people hated it. It's not the worst game in the world, as some people like to make it out to be, but it's not, I think, what a lot of people were expecting. I mean, when you hear that somebody who is heavily related to the Mega Man series, like Inafune, is involved as much as he was in this project, you probably were expecting a very, very close to Mega Man style game, and it wasn't. It was missing a lot of things that I think a lot of people loved Mega Man for, but, I mean, he's also trying to develop his own game that wasn't just Mega Man. Also, strangely here, apparently they're still developing the 3DS and the Vita version. I'm not sure why, considering both of those systems are pretty much on their way out. And they also say they're not even close to being ready for those versions to even be really seen or tested in demos. So it tells me they're quite a ways off from being done. We're talking months, maybe even a year before those games are ready to be distributed to the public. And at that point, why bother? Why not just move the 3DS version to the Switch at this point, right? I mean, if the people who wanted it for the 3DS don't have a Switch, just, I guess at this point, refund their money. Is there any real point in developing for a system that is pretty much legacy at this point with the Vita and one that's close to it with the 3DS? I feel like there's no need to even do it now. So at least they are fulfilling their rewards and their promises to the backers who did invest their money. Why it took a year to send out a box and manual, I will never know. I know there were some issues here where Concept came in and bought them and all this stuff, but really, the box and manual should have been sent out when the game was completed and done and sent to backers, and then released to the public. We're talking a year after this game has been released that they are getting a cardboard box and a manual that seems fairly simple to develop, print out, and send. I don't really know why it took this long. But again, to me, this just makes Kickstarter or crowdfunded projects look even worse. At least they're fulfilling the promise. But man, at this point, I think most people forgot about this game. It also doesn't help that this game is part of Humble Bundle right now. You can get the entire Mighty No. 9 along with several other Saints Row games right now for $5. Right now, you get it for $5. So now I kind of feel bad for the people who put in $60+ to get a box manual and then Mighty No. 9, because that, to me, I would see that show up on my doorstep and I'd be like, oh, I forgot I put $60 into that game. But there you have it. People are getting their rewards fulfilled at least way, way later than they were probably expecting. I think this was going to be more of I think a lot of people were expecting this to be more of a professionally done Kickstarter. Turns out it wasn't, but what can you do? I guess that's Kickstarter for you. Yeah, guys, let me know what you think down in the comments. If you were a backer of Mighty No. 9, are you happy to finally get your physical rewards? Or are you just kind of looking on this from the outside, just kind of shaking your head at these Kickstarter projects? Man, they get bad sometimes. That's it for now, guys. I'll see you next time.